Duel Review is brought to you by SpiderWolf.com.
On today's Duel Review, it's Bioshock Infinite. I'm RJ.
And I'm Nick.
Let's get to it. Hey everybody, today is the 2nd of April, and we're talking about Bioshock Infinite.
That's right. And I want people to know that the Infinite does get explained at the very end. But RJ hasn't finished it, so I'm not going to spoil anything.
It's available with the Move.
Yes. I haven't played it with the Move. I played it with a regular controller because I'm a regular person. Yeah. But yeah, so this just came out. It's Bioshock. It's Irrational Games. Wonderful series. Love the first Bioshock. It was very atmospheric. You had the old underwater rapture thing. It was great.
Second one was par.
Well, the second one wasn't made by
Par
2K Marin. It wasn't made by the same people. They just said, I'm going to buy the rights and make the game, and it came out okay, I
Yeah,
guess.
it was good. It was like a continuation, but nothing new. Definitely not better.
As far as Bioshock Infinite goes, it's definitely a different feel. I mean,
absolutely,
it's the same feel in that you have the guns and you have the plasmids or tonics or what are they called? Vigors in this one. So that's the same, but everything else is different. There's certainly not that kind of creepy horror aesthetic to it.
Yeah, this is bright outdoor.
Right.
It's more, this is happening right now rather than this happened 30 years ago kind of thing.
And everyone is in their sane mind. I thought that was going to be a thing with these games where the populace has somehow gone crazy. And it could have totally happened because at the end they kind of explained why some of the characters are different, I guess I should say. I'm not going to spoil anything, but they're different. But in the first one, obviously, you had the people who used too much plasmids and went nuts and started going stir crazy and stuff.
The main.
In this one, they're all sound mind, just doing their thing, and it all happens on a place called Columbia, which is a floating city. Now, unlike the first Bioshock, this one was actually sanctioned. This one was allowed by the government. The first one was, in the first Bioshock Rapture, was done in secrecy. No one knew about it, and you just kind of submerged. In this one, the government allowed them to create Columbia and raise it above the clouds.
But having said that, it's not common knowledge.
Well,
it certainly wasn't to him.
Our
main protagonist.
That gets explained. The last 25 minutes explains a lot, although there are still some questions which I can't ask, unfortunately, without giving anything away. But yeah, so the story follows Booker DeWitt as he's getting the girl to pay off his debts, the girl being Elizabeth, who's stuck in a tower and guarded by the songbird, and he has to deal with the warring factions. There's two of them who's kind of vying for control over Columbia. You have the founders, who were basically the people who started it, and then you had the rebel alliance called the Vox Populi, led by Daisy, why did I forget her name? Daisy Fitzroy. So Daisy Fitzroy's leading the Vox Populi. There's kind of this thing going on. It's kind of under the scenes until a certain point, and then it just becomes all-out war. And it's a lot of fun. But unfortunately, that kind of civil war takes a back seat to everything else. And I should note that as far as theme goes, as far as the theme of this entire thing, the theme is, if you guys are wondering, war and violence corrupts people. People change through war and violence. They're not the same person that they used to be, and that's a huge part of every plot point in this story.
Also, obviously touches on the religion,
right? And
it touches on I wouldn't say brainwashing, but like racism and all that stuff.
Well, this was during 1912, or this was set in 1912, and before that, the main point of I guess it's a focal point. The kind of things that people center on is the Battle of Wounded Knee, or the Massacre at Wounded Knee, which is an actual event happened in 1890,
which Booker was a part of.
And he regrets, and he has a lot of regret. Although I wish that in Bioshock Infinite they kind of showed him really upset about his past. Although he does go into with Elizabeth, I'm not a good person. You shouldn't like me. I'm just doing this to clear my debt, kind of thing. But he is a good person. He is a good man, which is kind of funny considering. But yes, there is some religious implications. There's a lot of racism in there, which you kind of have to, bite your thumb at.
Endure.
Yeah. And it was kind of hard for me.
Did you throw the baseball at them or the announcer?
Oh, the announcer.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I wish I had done it the other way just to see if it was any different.
Well, you know what's funny? Speaking of, when you first meet Elizabeth, there's a part where you have to choose a pendant. One's a dove and one's a
I
cage.
wondered, is that different?
Yeah, I was going to do the cage because I wanted to see if it was different than his playthrough, but I just couldn't. Although I did kind of justify it later, saying, "Well, you're the cage. You're the thing that captures everything." But I just couldn't do that, and I wish that they took more time with that choice. They just didn't.
Did you shoot the guy first, or did you let him stab you?
I let him stab me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So we don't know if it's different or not.
Well, I watched. There's
it would have been very small.
There's only one ending, and it's a. I can't say it's a great ending, but it is an ending that is worthy of what you've just played. I suppose is the best way of saying.
Well, without talking about more story, aesthetically, it's very pleasing.
Yes.
I thought I would be taken out being it outdoors and all that stuff because it's very different than the other Bioshock. It's different from games that I usually like because I like the dark, I like the tense, that sort of thing. And it didn't take me out. It was actually kind of fun. And you spend quite a bit of time at the very beginning just kind of exploring and seeing what other people are saying and whatever. And then all of a sudden, shit hits the fan and nothing's the same. And then also, there's like a slow descent into madness where things change a little bit more for the heavy hand, like the darker and whatever.
Yes.
In theme and tone. And
well,
all that stuff.
the war is brewing, and at some points, there's. Yeah, it just goes all out war.
But I was also going to say that the aesthetic, I mean, like we were talking about how different it is from Bioshock, but it's also very familiar.
Yes.
It feels very familiar to Bioshock, and I love Bioshock. It reminded me how much I like it. In fact, he told me that it unlocks the first game, which I can't wait to play again.
Well, it doesn't unlock. The first game just comes with it. You can download it right away.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to playing that as well. But yeah, I mean, it's different, but it still feels like the same kind of fit.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about some of the things that people were really anticipating, like the whole rail system where you're like flying from island to island and all that stuff, and I really didn't care for that.
I wish that they used it more in battle. I mean, there are parts of it like
it's fun to jump off and like slaughter somebody, but
right, yeah, and there is a couple areas where you can use it as more like a roller coaster to get to point B, but you could also slow yourself down to shoot something, and all sorts of cool stuff, and you can hop back and forth to evade attacks.
I thought that was all nonsense.
Yeah, for the most part, it wasn't that great, but I did like it. I did have fun just kind of sitting there traversing it, and
you were like, a lot of people were expecting vertigo. I didn't get that at all.
There was no vertigo. I mean,
really sad.
Yeah, they really could have done a lot with that because one of the greatest things about the first one was the feeling of being confined, the feeling that if something breaks, you're going to drown. At every turn.
A really good movie like Das Boot or something where it like puts you in this place and it limits you such that you feel that you're actually having that experience.
Right.
This one, it wasn't like. It could have been like agoraphobic or something, like wide open spaces and like vertigo, like trying to fall all the time or whatever. It didn't really capitalize on that. I didn't really like the bad guys either. First of all, I didn't like that I was just shooting normal humans. I mean, normal humans all the time.
Yeah.
Although, you can get past that. I definitely play Modern Warfare, kind of thing. And then I didn't like that big, clunky guy with the heart in the middle. I didn't. Really
the Tin Mans.
I did like the George Washington ones.
Oh yeah, the Patriots. Yeah.
Patriots. Yeah. Those
those
are fun.
sometimes they were. Depending on which universe you were in, they were either George Washington or Comstock, who is the main antagonist,
the prophet,
or Abraham Lincoln, which is funny because there's a lot of racism in there. So just to see him running around, for the people.
Yeah. So yeah, they do have a lot of variety as well. They have crows and all that stuff, those things. So that's fun. What did you feel about the Vigors? Were they as fun as the Plasmins?
The Vigors. Yes, they were fun.
There were a couple that I never used, like the Bronco one.
The Bronco one was fun. I did use that often enough, yes. Because I just threw them up and they would sit there and I would shoot them in the air and then they would come falling down.
You might as well just shoot them. You're wasting vigor.
Well, they really can't do much, and I wasn't really using my vigors in the first place.
I just used the crows if I wanted to do like a delay thing.
To stun them.
And then when they got the electricity, it's like all over. That's pretty much that and the fire one.
See, I didn't really use the electricity. I stuck to the fire one, and at the very end, you got the return to sender, which was awesome.
And I will say that I also didn't like that virtually all of them had the you can hold it down and place a trap. It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like either you shoot it at them or you place a trap. That's it.
For the most part, yes. But there's also the charge one, which didn't do that. And then there's the undertow one, which didn't do that.
I didn't say all of them. I just said the majority.
I know. Okay.
And then I did really enjoy Elizabeth's powers. That was cool.
Yes. Elizabeth is amazing in this.
And I think it's fun, to get the turrets on your side, stuff like that. But
yeah.
Now, what about the steampunk aesthetic? Because here's what I'm going to say about it. Steampunk aesthetic, because it's kind of antiquated mechanica, does not make it steampunk. It slightly does because of the flying ships, But to me, steampunk is a lot more. I mean, I love the little horses. What are they called? I forget what they're called.
They were just called stallions. They were.
No, it was some other name.
No, there was a name of the person who created them, and then there was.
I like the
this
robotic
person's
horses.
stallions.
That's fun. But to me, they were more tin soldier than they were
Right.
Steampunk.
Right, and they didn't really play a giant
I'm still
role
waiting
in
for.
it. So.
I'm still waiting for a good steampunk aesthetic, like Dishonored, which we did not too long ago, had a steampunk heart and a steampunk mask. Nothing else was steampunk,
Right.
to my view.
Right.
I mean, yes, they did have like Tesla stuff, so it's kind of bordering on that.
Yeah,
but the rest of it just felt like colonial, whatever.
Well, I don't.
I mean, steampunk is Victorian, first of all, so it's the wrong era.
Yeah, it should be the 1800s.
But I mean, there's nothing saying that you can't, create steampunk in a different era. That's fine. But yeah, to me, it was a lot less about the machinations. I think Songbird was really cool,
Yes.
but again, not explained.
Nope.
So that's too bad.
I was hoping that I'm hoping that the DLC kind of explains Songbird, but they don't. Or as far as I know, they don't. In the regular.
How did you feel about Elizabeth?
I loved Elizabeth. I think Elizabeth's progression, and I don't know how far you played until, but there are scenes where things happen and she is more mature, and I don't want to say that in a weird way. I don't know how to say it.
It's not wink.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people who played it to the end know what I'm talking about, where she's just like this kind of, she's badass is what it is. Basically, what she does, if you guys haven't played, is there's these tears all over Colombia, and tears are essentially tears in reality. Things are happening.
Time and space.
Yeah, where it's time and space, and we need to emphasize time, because that really, saying time kind of explains a little bit of the future, of the ending, I guess you could say. Plus, there's the issue of every now and then there'll be a tear, and you're hearing like music from 1983, 84, but never.
Yeah, she could get like Motown or something.
Never farther than 1985, and I'm going to say that with a point because that's kind of interesting.
Wink.
Yeah. But so the music is playing, and in fact, the Fink, the musician Fink, his brother actually steals that music and turns it into that kind of old timey hymn music, and it's actually kind of fun to listen to. You're listening to it, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is nice, and then you hear like a chorus that you know,
Or
and you're
a
like,
lyric that you
oh,
know.
this
and
is
be like,
this is
Yeah.
this is
What's the deal? It's like Motown. Or
yeah,
something.
this is Tears for Fears. What am I listening to here?
Yeah. Yeah. So the thing that I think she looks different than any of the other characters.
Yes.
Like she's modeled different.
Yes,
And
I agree.
I'm not sure I like that.
I love it.
Did you?
Because she stands out and she's supposed
But
to.
it throws me off. It's like she looks more Disney than all the rest of them.
Well, again,
Like she has larger head.
again,
and smaller
she's
frame.
only supposed to be around 12. Wait, yeah,
No.
12.
Really?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
12.
I guess I didn't get that part.
12 or 17. It was one of those.
That's a big difference.
Well, there's a huge time issue here. There's a lot of time lapses or issues there.
Still
But
jailbait, so nobody say anything. dirty.
Basically, what happens is it says that it's set in 1912, right? And the Battle of Wounded Knee is 1890. So between 1890 and 1912 is when she was born. So that's what, 22 years. So I don't know how to answer that.
And I guess the last thing,
'Cause it's
did
out
you
there.
expect it all? Because there were a lot of like cliche moments, but they didn't really detract from it. It didn't make me go, oh, like of course it would be that. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
I wish you didn't ask me that, because up until the last half an hour I was like, okay, I kind of know where this is going, and then after the last half hour I was like, I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I agree with this. I don't know if the story that Ken Levine took it is where it should have gone. But ultimately, yes, I think that it does make sense in what was done. So, no, it was not cliche at the end. But yes, there were elements that I could see were cliche if taken solely, if taken apart from everything else. You have bits of cliche mixed together to make one big brew.
Right, but would you agree with me that it didn't take you out of it?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I was immersed.
All right, well, there you go, Bioshock Infinite. I wasn't actually looking forward to this, and but I liked it enough that I would say if you're interested, go check it out. It may not be quite what you're expecting, but if you like the Bioshock, then, it's got that very similar feel.
Right. Same
And it's
feel,
bigger,
different aesthetic.
kind of thing.
Yes, it is much bigger.
So, all right, guys, is that it?
I got a lot more to say, but not without giving stuff
Spoiler.
away. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and tell us what you think. Watch our great playlists. Game Lab's been a lot of fun.
Yes, it has. And please leave comments. We love comments. And you can help support us by buying our wares at spiderwolf.com.
That's right. T-shirts, a card game, art print, shirt stories, and more. Kickstarter coming soon. See you later. See you later.
Oh, mine was like right there.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my mom. Next up on Duel Review, it's The Big Bang Theory. On today's Duel
Sorry, I just scratched my nose. It's like one of those things where you scratch your nose and then you make it worse.
on today's Duel review, it's Infinite Bioshock. No.
Our chairs are rubbing together. They're making sweet cricket noise.
Why did you put sweet in there?
Because it's the music of the crickets.
No, stop. Don't make sweet cricket noise. Don't you make that sweet cricket noise on me. You just creeped out like half of them.
Yeah, half of America. We got like 5 people in America watching us.
Yeah, the music thing was unexpected. That was probably the most unexpected thing, because I had that same experience, whereas this was like a song from disco era or something.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wait, what?
They have songs from 1960s and 1980s more predominantly.
Yeah. What was your favorite weapon?
My favorite weapon, I like the repeater, which, I guess we didn't talk much about weapons. There's the Founder's weapons, and then there's the Vox Populi
Let me
weapons.
help you out here.
Are you going to try and knock it off? There it goes. So yeah, there's the Founder's weapons, and then there's the Vox Populi weapons, and I like the Vox Populi weapons a little bit more. They're the ones with the red wrapped around it. But I love the repeater, although my go-to combo was at the very end you get Return to Sender, which essentially collects all of the bullets by holding it down. You hold it down, it collects all the bullets, and then you can throw it back. So I did that, and then I shotgun, and then did it again. So that was my kind of go-to combo.
To me, it was just a shotgun.
Yeah, I love the shotgun.
Yeah, and the statues were cool and all that stuff. I just wish I felt more vulnerable because of the platforming.
Yes.
Because it was just like, okay, now I'm here and this is my new, whatever. Never felt like, oh crap, if I go over there and, I'll fall off. Although you could fall to your death.
Well, no, it's not really falling to your death. You
Well,
fall off and then you
fall
respawn
in-
right where you are. Yeah, that's kind of lame. So much to say. The lettuces, the Latuses, the brother and sister team, they're hilarious.
Yeah,
They're just great. They're the ones who, in the beginning, they flip you the coin or they
don't
offer
really
you the pendant.
they don't really explain anything. I mean,
They do at the end.
I'm just saying what they do. They just talk.
Yes.
Like, they don't really interact with you very much.
Right.
They just talk to each other.
Talk to each other, yeah. And they're funny as hell.
They're funny.
But they're like pivotal in all of this. And Lady Comstock is kind of a pivotal point too, although not really. It's kind of, you try and figure out where she sits in the whole big picture.
Did you loot the chapels?
Oh yeah, I looted everything. I took everything.
Yeah. The statue's never going to use this.
No,
Yoink.
it's not.